You want to hear something crazy? So, September 8th, 2021. Listen to some music as I go to bed many times. Had a dream. It's my dream book right here. Okay. Had a dream I was replacing a coolant temperature sensor in my dad's old white Cutlass Supreme. He had that car when I was like 14 or 15 and 16. He used to love these damn Oldsmobiles, those old Cutlasses. He used to get those damn things. So anyways, have a dream I'm replacing a coolant temperature sensor in my dad's old white Cutlass Supreme. I woke up thinking maybe my diesel generator might need that sensor. So I ordered 2 coolant related sensors that evening. One was the coolant temperature sensor, and there's another one in the generator that I think just senses if there's coolant in the radiator, and that's it. However, the next day, a friend of ours, Rachel, called Evelyn and said her car would not start. So I went over to her house, and it was now this is not the dream. This is awake. I went because I remember this. I went over there, checked it out, and it was a dead battery, old battery. Alternator was fine, but it needed a battery, so she took it over to Advanced Auto Parts, and they replaced the battery for her. Basically, you buy a battery, they'll install it for you usually for no fee. Those parts stores. So, and then after that, like a day later, Evelyn's mom calls. Oh, the car you guys gave me recently, which was my mom's old car. She goes, something's wrong. It won't start. Whatever. She was, so she had a tow truck coming over. Turns out it was the alternator. So she needed an alternator. Our other friend Rachel needed a battery. This is a day to 2 days later. Like the very next day was Rachel, and I think the day after that was her mom. So I'm thinking, dream. I'm replacing a coolant temperature sensor. I remember seeing it on the very front of the engine, which is where they're typically located. And I think I did a video about this, but it might have been on my old channel that got terminated, because this is maybe around that time. Although maybe not. It might have been on this channel, this JSnip4 2. But I remember talking about this a little bit. So check this out. So when I got that generator, it's a 33 kilowatt. It's a trailer type generator. I can pull the thing if I need to. But they used them on cell phone towers, standby generators, or like when they're working on, not necessarily standby, when they're working on a tower, they'd have to maybe supply it with separate power, or for whatever reason. That's what the company that sold it to me told me. This thing had 38 hours on it, and it was like from 2007 or 8 or something as the when it was made. Diesel generator, everything was very well maintained. I mean, I was like, whoa, where do I sign up? I'll be down in Miami in 5 seconds. I'm coming down there tomorrow to get this thing. And I didn't even know it had that low of hours, by the way. And it's just a little place that gets them from time to time and resells them. So I get this thing. They test it out. It runs. Everything's good. I get it home. I'm using it. I've got getting stuff set up so I can basically plug it in to a special adapter to hook up to my house. Basically, it's called a pin and sleeve connector, and it's like 100 amp capable, even more than that actually. Some of them. Anyways, I get it all set up. I park the thing, but every great once in a while, like I'll start it, just to make sure. And it's got a solar panel built into the top of it, so it keeps the battery charged up all the time. Don't have to plug it in or nothing. But I'd noticed sometime when I would turn it on and run it, immediately upon it getting power, before I don't even know if I would even crank it. I think just as soon as it turned on, the display would say low coolant temp sensor low, or low coolant temp sensor, or not sensor, low coolant temp, meaning temperature, low coolant temp. So it was like a warning, and the little warning light was actually on, and I'm like, but I haven't even started it yet. It's cold. The engine's cold. How could it possibly be telling me low coolant temperature sensor, like coolant temp? It doesn't make sense. How could it be throwing a low coolant light or temperature? Anyways, the engine's not even running yet. So unless it's just really, really bad. So anyways, I'd crank it, and sometimes it would just shut off. It would shut off by itself. And I'm like, okay, is that supposed to happen? I don't think so. start it back up, and then and it would run, and then all of a sudden I see, oh, there's a temperature, and I'd check the monitor. Oh, there's the sensor. That light or that warning went away, and I think it's okay, and it would run. So I would then go to the menu and go, oh, there's the sensor, there's the temperature. Yep, it's reading the temperature. I guess it's fine, and then it would run, no problem. I'll test it at my house for like 2 or 3 hours one time. Shut everything off. It ran fine. Well, okay. So, but I'd know sometimes that damn low temperature warning would come on. And it's always when I would first start it. So once it got warmed up, it seemed like, oh, it's starting to work. It would shut up and run. So yesterday we had a little party at our house. We do the white elephant game, and we had a bunch of friends over and stuff. So one of my friends comes over, show me that generator of yours. All right. So I show him the generator. And he's like, I've got a diesel one at my house. He goes, but it's not like got the sound attenuation, stuff. Mine's probably going to be pretty loud. And he goes, let me hear it. Let me see it. So I fired up, closed the door, the doors. And it's like, you were standing next to it talking, it's not that loud. So he's like, yeah, wow, that's pretty good, Then it just shuts off on it, dies on me. And I go, all right, let me fire it back up. So he's like, well, let me look at the back panel. Is it 3-phase or 2-phase? I'm like, oh, it's 2-phase. Or I guess not 2-phase, single phase or 3-phase. It's like, it's 240. He's like, nah, but it's got 208 over here. I'm like, it's set for 240. I've already tested it, and the switch is set to 240. Nah, go get me a voltmeter. All right, I'll go get a voltmeter. And it died, it shuts off again. And I'm like, okay, so get the voltmeter, fire it back up, and there's that damn light, that thing again. Low coolant temperature. And I'm like, huh. Now, when I had this dream, as I read to you, the next day, immediately, I'm thinking, man, I think it might be this generator. So I can't find the part. No one's got it. No one even knows what it is. Can't find it. No one can sell it. And then finally, I was able to just, through persistence, my being persistent, was able to find the company that manufactured it for the generator. Now it has a Cummins engine, but I think it's Cummins, and Cummins doesn't make the coolant system for this because they're all specialized for generators. So there's a third party that makes it and rigs it and does all the wiring and So I found out who that was, and they, well, this is the part number, but we don't have it. Here's the company that makes them. Oh my God! Call them up. Yep, that we got the right part number, but we don't have any in stock. We have to use the manufacturer, put an order in with them. There's no telling when it'll get back. I mean, it'll be on back order. Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and get my thing's running, but just in case, that dream, I don't want to have a generator that shuts itself off because it thinks there's a problem with the coolant temperature. What good is it if at that point it keeps shutting itself off? So I said, well, just go here. It was $45. I'm like, just here it is. Yep, I'll pay for it online. Got the email. We don't know when it's coming, but we estimate maybe January 11th. Or sorry, November 11th. And this is back in September. So I'm like, September, October, November, 2 months. Okay, hopefully nothing goes out by then. The grid doesn't go down. And then I get an update. Actually, I called and did that? It said, you guys get, nope, still nothing, but the system will notify you, blah, blah, blah. About a week later, I get a notification. Yep, it's going to be delivered in the first week of December or something. So, or maybe it was, I think it was the first week of December. So it shows up. And I bought this other second sensor that I mentioned in the radiator. That I was able to find that online, and I think it was through Cummins or whatever. I was just able to find it. So I knew it wasn't that in my dream, but I thought there's only really 2 coolant sensors here that I'm seeing on this generator. One is on the radiator, which again I think is just going to figure out if there's coolant in there or not. The other one is actually feeding the computer ECU the actual temperature of the engine as it runs, to obviously so it can change whatever settings, mixture, whatever diesel, whatever the hell it does as it warms up. So in my dream, it was the coolant temperature sensor, not the one on the radiator. So I get this thing, I put it in a little Ziploc bag, I tie it, strap it out there inside the enclosure of the generator, and it's just sitting there for the last couple weeks or so. And so again, yesterday, we're this thing shut off on me 3 times, and I'm going, I don't know. So I'm out there tonight, I fire it up. As soon as I turn it on, low coolant temp, again, right immediately, low coolant temperature. It shuts off on me. 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, it shuts off. I'm like, okay. I'm like, man, I think it might be time to change that sensor out and just see what happens. I've got it here. So, I might as well keep it as a spare if everything's fine, but no, there's an issue. So I I fire it up again. I go into the settings to monitor the temperature, and it's like giving me an error of like out of range. Like we can't even read it, is what it's saying. And I'm going, oh, we probably have a bad sensor, all right. So I shut it off myself, and I'm like, all right, let me go get a couple of tools, just an adjustable wrench. It's right there, easy to get to, just get a few little things. But I wanted to test with a voltmeter and ohm meter to make sure that the color wires match up, because it doesn't have the right connector to plug right in to this thing. The old one had a connector. You could just pull it off, push it back onto the sensor, no problem. 3-prong. This one, it's all built into the sensor. There's no connector, so they just give you a pigtail of 3 wires, but they're the same color as the wires on this one that's on the generator. So I'm like, well, that's pretty obvious, But I did do a little test to just ohm test to go, okay, there's definitely the white one to the black one, not the red one. Yeah, okay. So I hook it all up, butt connectors, get them all in there, put the those little sleeves on there that you can, a little heat shrink deal. Get it all set up and fire it up. As soon as I turn it on, there's no low coolant nonsense like it was doing. It's just ready to go. So I fire it up, go right over to the menu. Let me see what temperature it is. It's 102 or whatever, since I'd been running it for a couple minutes. 102 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm like, okay, let me watch it. 107, 111. Okay, let me shut it off for a second, clean off my little mess over there. All right, let me get out here so I can stand here and watch it. Turn it back on. Let it run for several minutes. 215, 117, 120, 150 degrees. It's just climbing. I went back over to where I screwed it in to make sure. You don't want to over tighten it, and you don't want to under tighten it. If you over tighten it, you could split where it connects into it. Then you got some piece of the engine you got to replace, which sucks. And but you don't want it too loose that it's dripping coolant out of there. So just kind of make it nice and snug. And the sensor itself usually comes with, which this one did, like a little silicone stuff on there already in the threads. So you just tighten it, and it's okay. It's getting snug now. Maybe give it another half a turn, maybe, or a quarter, and that was it. Fired it up, didn't leak at all, worked great. And I'm sitting there going, I had a dream about this, and I couldn't remember the first. Like I was like, I think I had a dream that I was replacing a coolant sensor in the damn generator, and it made me buy one. I was so nervous the next day. So I went and got my book, and I got my dream book, and I go, oh no, it wasn't the generator. It was my dad's old Cutlass, his old white Cutlass from like 1980, 88 or something. And it was an older Cutlass then, so it was probably like a 1979. I think it was a 1979 Cutlass Supreme. He loved those damn cars for some reason. And anyways, that was the one in the dream. And I'm on the front of the engine taking out the coolant temperature sensor. I know it's bad. I'm replacing it. I knew exactly what it was in the dream. I wake up going, I think this is for the generator that I just got. And I even wrote my notes as I read to you in my dream, in my book. I think this is for the generator. But then I had the battery thing and the alternator thing with my mother-in-law and our friend. And I'm going, well, maybe just Spirit's just showing me a mechanical thing. Something's wrong. And here I saved, well, I didn't really save my mother-in-law because she was up where she lives. She just had to call a tow truck and take it to a shop. But the other one's close enough that I could just drive over there and test it. And I tested the battery was shot. But the alternator was fine. I'm like, you just need a battery. So I thought, well, maybe that's Spirit just showing me this in just a different way. There's an auto mechanic issue that you're going to help do. So, just talking to my mother-in-law, I determined, I think it's your alternator. And it was. Once she took it to the shop, that's what it was. And then my friend, I thought, our friend Rachel, it probably might be your battery, but it could be the alternator. If the alternator dies, your battery's going to die ultimately. So, I went over there with the voltmeter, checked it. Yep, it's your battery. Alternator's fine. So, for those two things to happen, like the next day after, and then now we're at September, October, November, December, 3 months later, I just got the sensor in a week ago. And it is failing now to where it's shutting the thing off. Because at least before, even though it said low temperature, as soon as you start running, it would start reading it, and it looked like, to me, the temperature was okay. Like it was right. It was going up like it should. And this one, or this recently, it was like, nope, shut it off. Now it's saying like out of spec or like out OD something like, okay, it's not even registering, like it doesn't even exist. I'm going, today's the day. Actually, tonight it was already nighttime. I was about 8 something at night. I'm going, I'm just gonna do this now. I'm gonna get my little flashlight, magnetic flashlight. This is simple. It's right in my face. Easy. Crimp it, strip the wire. Done. Fired that sucker up. Ran like a champ. No lights, no problems. Temperature reading immediately. I was like, oh my god. I got the dream of the exact thing on the thing that I thought it was when I woke up. My generator. So I would like to just say, there's the next thing in line in my dream journal. Not to say that everything goes in order. Like, well, this happened, so the next dream's going to happen next, and that dream's going to happen next. But sometimes that does happen, I will tell you. So, September. Again, had a dream I was replacing a coolant temperature sensor in my dad's old white Cutlass Supreme. I wake up thinking maybe it's a diesel generator, might need that sensor, so I ordered 2 coolant-related sensors that evening. Next entry, 16th of September. Listened to some Indian drumming music, whatever, as I went to bed. Had a dream of a jailbreak, and I mentioned this to you guys, or prison break. I think I saw 6 people broken out of jail. When I woke up, I thought about the FBI staged insurrection, then the upcoming September 18th rally in D.C., which has to do with the people still locked up, without court, trial, nothing. I think this is another staged FBI event in which they will try to do a jailbreak and make it look like Trump supporters did it. Hours later, I was laying in bed thinking about the dream with my eyes closed. I saw in my left eyelid a large bright flash that got bigger and bigger. It made me think of a nuclear bomb going off. It kept repeating probably 4 or 5 times. So remember the volcano, La Palma? This is before that. And remember Dick Algar and them were seeing something similar, like, is this a nuke? What are we seeing over here? Mushroom cloud. Well, yeah, mushroom cloud, but it was a volcano exploding. And so that was interesting. So I just want to mention that, because we just saw the FBI, not the Proud Boys, the Patriot Front. Another name, Patriot Front. They got shields and little khakis. It's the same effing moron, bozo FBI agents. I mean, you gotta have nothing to do with your job. You're not fighting crime. You're like, to do that dumb shit. I would not be. I'd be like, you know what? I've not been working here that long, or maybe I have, but we've gone to a level of just, I don't think I can work here anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and resign. I gotta get that pension. I gotta get my pension. I gotta stay. All right, yeah. Give me the fake the khakis, and the fake shields. The Captain America shields. I want a Captain America one. So that just happened the other day. Not a jailbreak. But my dream was a jailbreak. And by the way, within a day or two, actually it was the same morning of this dream, the jailbreak, I'm looking online. Oh, 6 Palestinians escaped from a Israeli jail. They dug a tunnel. And I remember seeing the tunnel, like these guys going out of a dirt, floor coming up. And someone was outside. 1 or 2 people were outside. And I was one of the people in the dream that helped them. Like once they got through the hole, like, come on this way, whether there was a car waiting or whatever, I don't remember. But again, my gut was like, prison break? The January 6th were people in jail? They're going to stage it? Like, is this going to be staged? Trump supporters did this. So the fact that I had a dream of a coolant temperature sensor being replaced in my dad's car, and then my generator actually needed it, a coolant temperature sensor. And I thought it was just the other auto repair things, the battery and the alternator, and my friends and my mother-in-law. Makes me wonder about that next dream in line. So I'm going to end it here, and I shall talk to you later.